name's Amber, and I grew up with local food. Really local food. Food that was grown in my grandma and great-grandma's backyards, which also happened to be my backyard. See, we all lived on one big hill over in Mitchell County in the mountains of North Carolina. And I spent my childhood running all over that hill. So it wasn't uncommon for me to get recruited for garden and canning work in the spring and summertime. When I was in 3rd grade, though, my mom decided that she was going to get involved too, by learning to garden and can from my dad's grandmother, who we all called Mama Lois. Now, my mom is from the city, Asheville to be exact, and she works full-time at the local textile mill. So not only was gardening fairly new to her, but she also didn't have a lot of extra time. She wanted to do it though, and Mama Lois agreed. So each night when my mom would get home from work, we would walk down to Mama Lois's house to pick and prep and can tomatoes until 11 or 12 o'clock at night. After a while, this routine got tiring and old and frustrating, and I remember asking my great-grandmother, Mama Lois, why do we even bother? We can just go down to Ingles and buy tomatoes for like 60 cents a can. She responded with a wisdom that I neither understood nor appreciated at the time, saying, we do this because we love our family, and we need to take care of one another. Fast forward 15 years, and I'm no longer a 3rd grader learning to garden with her mom and great-grandma in the mountains, but I'm now down on the coast in rural Brunswick County teaching 3rd graders to garden. And despite this kind of role reversal, I'm still learning many of the same lessons. I was again reminded of what Mama Lois had said about food as a way to care for one another one day this past spring, when Devante, one of the 3rd graders I teach, echoed what Mama Lois had told me when I was his age. We were harvesting carrots, and Devante was so excited. He was the first one to plunge his hand into the soil. And when he did, he wrapped his fingers around the carrot, pulled it up with a little more force than was necessary, and held it above his head in a pose of victory. When he brought it back down, he looked at it, and he looked at me, and he said, Miss Amber, I'm going to give this carrot to my dad, because then he'll know that I love him. Now, what does any of this have to do with local food systems, or local food on a larger scale? I'm sure that many of us here tonight are aware of lots of the tangible, quantitative benefits of local food. For example, when our school cafeterias buy collard greens from local farmers, they're bolstering the local economy by putting money directly into the pockets of community members. At the same time, studies show that when kids know the farmer that grew those collard greens on their lunch trays, or better yet, when they help grow those collards that end up on their lunch trays, they're more likely to eat them, which not only fills their bellies with healthy food, but sets them up for healthier, lifelong eating habits. And these kinds of measurable benefits alone make farm to school and local food worthwhile. But how often do we think about the qualitative, symbolic benefits of local food? The things that we can't touch or count. Food as a means of loving one another, and investing in local food as a means of loving our communities, building our communities. There's something powerful about providing one another with physical sustenance. It somehow extends past our physical being and enters into this space where we learn to love and care for one another, just like Mama Lois and Devante were talking about. So imagine a place where we take this love and care and expand it from individuals to entire communities. And the beautiful thing is, we don't actually have to do that much imagining, because this isn't a new idea. Communities have been caring for themselves through local food for centuries. And oftentimes, this resilience and care is easiest to see in those places that are dealt an unfair hand in our society. Places like Mama Lois's Appalachia, or Devante's rural South Brunswick neighborhood. Places where people are growing and fixing food for the community, within the community, in order to survive and thrive, despite the many challenges that they face. And folks, that's powerful. That's empowering. I can't accurately describe what it is that happens when you grow and serve a mess of beans or a bushel of sweet potatoes for the people that you love. It's a creative sort of process that forms and shapes relationships and communities, and honestly, I can't explain that. I don't know how to think through it, really. But I know that I felt it when my mom worked all day and came home and worked another 5 hours canning tomatoes. I know that Devontae felt it when he held that carrot up and couldn't wait to give it to his dad. And I hope that you feel it tonight and this weekend as we come together to remember and celebrate and take part in this local foods work that CEFS and so many other organizations across North Carolina are doing to help our communities care for themselves in such powerful ways. Thank you.